Welcome back to BK Nothing But Nets podcast. I'm joined again, of course, with my co-host Dylan, as always. A little bit of breaking news. I'm still looking into it. This just broke. Dylan, how's it going? And what do you got for us as the breaking news?
Yeah, breaking news per Shams. The Indiana Pacers are trading the 23rd overall pick and the rights to an absolute no-name player to the New Orleans Pelicans for Indiana's own 2026 first-round pick back, which the Pelicans previously acquired. This is very interesting, huge for Brooklyn, I think. New Orleans has been linked as a team trying to trade up in this year's draft. Ace Bailey is falling. If they want Ace Bailey, which is what has been rumored, are they willing to move 7 and 23 up to either 3 or 4? And the reason why that's really big for Brooklyn, and I just put it out, is because New Orleans is the biggest threat to land Jeremiah Fears, who have the pick before Brooklyn in this year's draft. If they move up for Ace, you have to think that Philly passes on Fears. And that leaves you with Washington or Utah, who are leaning more towards Con Kneppels, VJ Edgecombs, Trey Johnsons. Like, come on, Mallywox. We should be all right in that department to where Fears should be able to fall to 8. So this is massive, especially if they are looking to move up for Ace Bailey at 3 or 4.
This is interesting. Okay, this does indicate to me that New Orleans is looking to move up. At 3, is there any other spot? And it's 7.
I think you're having audio issues. Yeah, I just turned on the stream. It's a bit glitchy. No, the mouth is moving, but can't really hear it. It's like static. Do you want to back out and I'll see if it works? Yeah. All right. So just going over, I want to make sure that my voice sounds all right. Yeah, my voice is good. All right, so it's his end. Yeah, pretty much. New Orleans has made the trade. They've acquired an additional first-round pick. Now I can't hear you at all. No, it's glitched. It sounds robotic. Like it's not even coming out with words. It's just static. Technical issues. Can you guys hear me all right, chat? Let me know if you guys can hear me all right. Because we got to figure out whose end this is. It's probably StreamYard again, just being StreamYard. Good trade for Indy and New Orleans. I agree. Okay. So I'm good. Yeah, so it's probably just Gary's end. We'll let him reset. I'll just go over the trade again. The Pelicans have acquired the 23rd overall pick via Indiana. Indiana gets their 2026 first-round pick back. A lot of speculation has been around whether or not New Orleans is going to trade up for Ace Bailey. That's a player that they really want. There's been talks about them potentially moving up with Philly. I think that this kind of secures that. You sound good on your end, Gary. Hold on. Let's hear it. Are you good?
Test. 1 2 1 2. Yeah. Are we good?
Sounds much better. All
right.
Wait, try again.
Am I sounding okay?
It's sounding okay. It's a bit laggy, but it's starting to get better.
All right. I can refresh and. Oh, am I low?
No, it's not that you're low. It's
okay.
more so sometimes like a little bit of static will come in, but the past like 30 seconds you've been good.
All right. I need to refresh. I opened up a tab and it all right, Lou's saying not laggy. I think we're good.
We're good now.
We're good now? All right.
We're good. We're back.
I opened up an app and then I got a warning on my StreamYard saying that this is going to mess up. It was just like an NBA page. I was trying to look at the trade.
Oh,
so one more time, like I'm a retarded 5-year-old. Give me the trade. Gary podcasting off a $2,000 computer and a full set. But I don't know, man. Things ain't what they used to be. Give me the give me the trade one more time.
The Pelicans traded The 2026 first round pick via Indiana, back to Indiana for the 23rd overall pick. Like I was saying before, New Orleans has been a team heavily linked to the 3rd overall pick and Ace Bailey. If there's any team in this top 10 that's willing to take the risk on Ace and move up, it likely is New Orleans. And that opens up a wide variety of opportunities for Brooklyn, who is primarily looking into Jeremiah Fears. This kind of sets up the trade to be made between Philly and New Orleans. So I would expect that honestly to start going through here in the next 24 hours, possibly. But yeah, that's massive for Brooklyn if they end up going Ace at 3 in New Orleans, because Philly likely isn't taking Fears. I don't think Utah takes Fears. That kind of just leaves Washington as the potential, are they going to take him or not? Because if New Orleans moves up to 3 for Ace, you have VJ going to Charlotte. You either have Kneppel or Trey Johnson going 5 to Utah, and that leaves you either Fears, Trey Johnson, or Maluak going 6 to Washington. Philly likely takes one of either Trey Johnson, Kneppel, or Maluak. So again, that kind of just puts Fears into your lap, hopefully, if this deal's made.
I would say if whatever one is available, Trey Johnson or Kneppel, I would think Philly at 7 would take that guy. I would assume.
Yeah, one of those 3 that I mentioned, right? Maluak, Trey Johnson, or Kneppel, whichever one's available at 7, you have to think Philly is taking, right? And that kind of leaves the only player on the board in terms of team that could take Jeremiah Fears would be Washington. So it really depends.
Let me live in this hypothetical world. We're at 8. And both Fears and Maluak are available. You're going Fears 10 out of 10 times.
Fears 10 out of 10 times. Yep.
Can you make an argument that you go Maluak?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't think so. Just because it's really based on that floor and ceiling, right? The ceiling of Maluak is huge, but the floor is very similar to Ace Bailey, who's already falling in this draft.
I wanted to touch on him real quick. I wanted to touch on him real quick. But go ahead, continue. I want to ask you about Fears because he seems to, and he doesn't want to talk to other teams. I want to ask you what's going on with him, but continue your point real quick.
No, I'm just saying, there's the top 4 seems to be solidified as of right now. Let's just say if New Orleans moves up, right? You have Flag going 1, Harper going 2, Ace going 3, VJ going 4. Now, unless if New Orleans is trading up to absolutely steal VJ Edgecombe away from Charlotte, then maybe Charlotte moves back. But who knows? I mean, I would be willing to move up with Charlotte if it meant getting Fears at 4. That's just my opinion. But, I definitely think that if one of Fears or Maluak are available at 8, you go Fears 10 out of 10 times.
I agree. I just want to live in the world where I'm prepared for disappointment because I really want Fears. We've been on the Fears bandwagon. It's
for about 2 months now. Yep.
I hate Oklahoma like I hate the Yankees, like I hate the Cowboys. Like that's how much I hate.
Easy. That's
how much I hate the Oklahoma Sooners, right? But I want this guy. I don't want Trey Johnson. I don't want the Longhorn. I want the Choklahoma Sooner here. That tells you how I rate him, like what I think of him, that I want him to be a net. All right. I wanted to move to Ace Bailey real quick. Ace Bailey, I don't know. His stock seems to be plummeting. He seems to be free falling. Is he still a lock to go 3 or 4? Could he fall more than that? If so, how much could he free fall? And what's this thing that he's not meeting with teams? What's going on with Ace Bailey right now?
Yeah, listen, as I mentioned numerous times, there are issues with his mentality and like the IQ on both ends of the floor, and he's starting to kind of showcase that by being a bit petty with how he wants to present himself to teams individually. I saw somebody post on Twitter earlier today a picture of him next to Kobe, and it was like, oh, the last player did not do individual workouts for teams was this guy. And I'm like, you know what?
Yes.
You're comparing high school Kobe, who dominated in every aspect of the game, compared to freshman year college Ace Bailey, who couldn't lead Rutgers even into the NCAA tournament, nor could he be effective in terms of his IQ as a playmaker, a shot creator, and defensively in terms of switching onto defenders, recovery. There's a bit of deficiencies in Ace's game, and I've been saying this for a while, and people have been going off on me for saying it. But Ace is a guy who could fall, especially if Philly takes VJ at 3. That could then leave you all the way to VJ possibly falling to 6 or 7. Or I'm sorry, Ace falling to 6 or 7. So there's a lot of avenues where he falls in this draft because of the way that he's presenting himself. He does not look to be like a team player. He's more focused on a team that'll select him to become a star rather than to be selected to a team that just wants him. And that's not really a great attitude to come into the league as a 19-year-old. So teams are a bit concerned with it.
It does seem concerning. He didn't have the type. I mean, the ability is there, the shot making is there, but he didn't have the kind of season where I feel like he could just kind of demand where he wants to go. You think there's Isaiah Thomas famously did this. The Bulls picked 3, the Pistons picked 2. He so wanted to go to Chicago, which is where he was from, that he tried to tank his interview with the Pistons and do whatever he could to not get drafted by the Pistons. And they told him, "I know what you're doing, and we're still drafting you at 2." Is Ace trying to fall somewhere? Is there somewhere 4, 5, 6, 7 where you think he wants to go? Is there, you know what I'm saying? This is really odd behavior from a guy who had kind of a disappointing college season in no uncertain terms. It wasn't what we were expecting. People were talking about, could he pass Cooper Flagg as number 1 pick in the draft a year ago? Now they're talking about him going to 4 or worse. Is he tanking his stock to try to go somewhere? To land someone specifically?
I really just think that he wants to be selected by an organization that's immediately going to throw him out there to be the guy, right? And the only organizations that are really out there to do that right now is Utah and Brooklyn in terms of the top 8, right? Philly, not a place for him. San Antonio, second, third option, or probably third or fourth option potentially, whether or not they get KD and they keep guys like Castle, Harper, like any of those guys. Flagg, of course, going number 1. He's not. Ace isn't. So, Charlotte, again, another team. He'll be a third, fourth option behind Miles Bridges, Brandon Miller, and LaMelo. Utah's the only place, and Brooklyn, that are kind of in need of that first, second option player. So I can definitely see him taking his value to try and get to one of those teams. So this way he's put into a position where he can do his thing from day one.
I just saw something like this in the NFL draft. It worked out well. I'm sure you're referencing Shedeur Sanders there. Thank you for the kind words, Chris.
Yeah. If there's could you imagine Ace Bailey selected to Brooklyn with the 26th pick? That would be fucking hilarious. That would be awesome. But no, it's not happening. He's not falling past 8.
Yeah, he's available at 8. That means Fears probably isn't, right? Because they're both not going to fall to 8.
Yeah.
Let's live in that world real quick. Stupid hypothetical, impossible hypothetical, but Fears and Ace are at 8. Who are you taking?
Fears or Ace?
Yeah.
There's a reason why Ace would be there at 8. I'm sticking with my guy. I'm going Fears.
Oh.
I'm going with my guy. I'm sold on him. I think that this kid is a star in the making. There's not many players on a year-to-year basis in terms of the draft process that rises up boards this quickly, whether it be through his play or through the combine and interview process. Fears to me is a top 5 guy on this list in terms of every aspect of the game. I think that he is going to be a star in this league. So I'm still, if a guy, look at Shedeur Sanders, for example, top 5 pick projected, fell, kept falling. Teams noticed he kept failing, kept passing on him. That's kind of the route that you want to look into when it comes to guys falling, right? If Ace is falling, it's for a reason. And I don't want to be the team to take the risk unless if I have an additional lottery pick. That's the only way that I'm doing it. So Fears is still my guy, whether Ace is on the board at 8 or not.
If they both fall at 8, I'm making a trade for 9 and getting them both. I like that. I don't know if it's possible, but I like that. Fears at 8 is absolute perfection for the Nets. I agree. That's all I could ask for. Yeah. We would have to replace this guy. He would no longer be our point guard. Give me your thoughts on this real quick. D'Angelo Russell doing commercial for boner pills because apparently a 29-year-old professional athlete can't get his dick to work. But
either that or they paid him a really good amount
on that.
Either that or they paid him a really good amount. Have you ever watched the movie Let's Be Cops?
No, I haven't.
Oh my God, dude! It opens up with all right. So pretty much the story is these two guys. They're really good friends. They live together. One of the dudes is the guy from New Girl, the white dude with the short hair.
Yeah.
He they open up the movie with him doing a herpes commercial, and he doesn't have herpes. So it's like kind of similar, right? D'Lo at the age of 29, he can get it up most likely. Pause, but you know what I mean. He's just in this for money, you know. I see people on the internet all the time doing those Blue Chew commercials at the age of like 25. We all know you're not struggling. You're just going there for money. So no, I doubt D'Lo is in a bad position in terms of physical health.
With
Um,
the ladies.
I'm sure he's doing all right.
They better pay you a nice chunk of change. That better have you know, that better have at least 7 figures on it. If
Lou.
you're asking me to do a commercial, that's how the world my dick doesn't work.
Oh, that's crazy. Honestly, Alan, if you're Alon, I don't know how to pronounce it. I'm sorry if I'm butchering it.
Alan, it's Alan.
It is Alan. Okay. If Philly moves back to 7, I could very well see them trading with Atlanta for 13 and 22 as well, because that would put them in a position to draft 13th, 22nd, and 23rd if they make that deal with New Orleans and you guys. So I can definitely see them doing a double trade back to net back some more value and land some more prospects on cheaper contracts.
Let me see. All right. And then the last housekeeping issue I wanted to talk about is I'm assuming you saw these rumors. It looks like Cam Thomas is going to get 100 for 4. It's about what we thought.
Where the hell did that pop out of? Who posted that? Airy report?
No, this was where did I see it? I think it was Nets Daily. It was.
Okay. So it's just as unreliable as Airy report. Yeah, no, I'm sorry. You're not outbidding yourself on a player that doesn't have a market for him. He's going to get that 20 to 22 million range, and even if it is 25 off of the first year, it's going to be a descending contract. So overall, I see the contract being like 3 years, 80, like 70 to 80 million in that range. If they want to overpay him for the first year of it, then sure. But no, the year by year basis, I do not see it being annual 25 million. I could see it being like 19 to 22 at most.
I thought 4 years for 100 was pretty good. I mean, it's top end. It's top end. It's the high end of what you. But I thought that was. I wasn't sure about the 4th year. Like, do you want to lock him up for 4 years?
No, 3 years. I don't think he's going to want to lock himself up for 4 years, especially with the offer that I think he's going to end up getting, which again is that 19 to 22 million dollar range. Let's just say. I think it's going to be a 3-year player option, so he can opt out of the 2nd year, and it also keeps him as a tradable contract for the time when Brooklyn wants to go in for a star, which is what I've been kind of saying for the last year.
It's hard though. If I was him, if I was his agent, I would talk him out of a long-term deal. I try to get him 2+1. That's favorable to him. 2 years. The first 2 years are 50 million. Let's say 27 the first year, 23 the 2nd year, and then the 3rd year there's an option for whatever.
Yeah,
that's what I would do if I were him. But if I said to him 4 years, $100 million, it is hard to walk away from $100 million on the table. You never have to work again. If you go out and you average 1 point a game on 12% shooting, doesn't matter. I still got generational wealth. Doesn't matter to me. Yeah. It's hard. You know what I'm saying? It's probably the right decision to turn that down. But it is extremely hard to walk away from $100 million. What did he make last year? $5 million? He was 27 pick in the draft. So
yeah, he was definitely he was making like $4 to $6 million, somewhere in that range.
Yeah. So that is a lot of money to walk away from. Is it going to be a low ball deal at the end of it? Compared to what people will be making 4 years from now, probably. But you're still generationally rich. You don't have to work again. Your kids, I don't know if he has kids, but they're taken care of. You're good. You're good. You don't ever have to work again. At 24 years old, you're set for life, and your kids are set for life. It's hard to walk away from that money. You know what I'm saying? It really is.
I definitely agree.
All right. So you don't think there's any validity to the 4-year, $100 million deal?
No, not one bit.
Okay. It seemed, like I said again, it seemed like top end dollar to me, but it seemed within the Overton window of what's realistic. It just seemed closer to the high end. I was kind of agreeing with you, but if it would be 4 years, it wouldn't be 25 per. He might get 25 per on a 2-year deal with a +1 option. All right. Now that we've taken care of all the housekeeping issues, I pulled up the 19th pick in the draft going back to 2018. it's not great, Dylan. So we got to try to find some value for our Nets. You want me to run down the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 guys taken with the 19th pick in the draft?
Let's hear it.
It's Kevin Huerter, some guy named Luka Simonik. Do you know who that is?
I remember that. Yep.
I don't even remember this guy. 19th pick in the draft. Saddiq Bey.
Solid.
Okay,
Wasn't that with the Nets pick too?
Yeah. Kai Jones.
He was solid, but he's a mental case.
Jake, the guy's name always kills me on the Grizzlies. Jake
Laravia or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, horrible.
Brandon Pods, decent, right?
Yeah, decent.
And then Jacoby Walker.
Yeah, had value, but definitely is not looking great. It's a bit of a rough pick, but you also have to remember too that there's not been a draft class like this in terms of depth ever, right? Like usually you've got like your top 4 heavy, and then you have like your second tier guys between like 5 and 10, and then it kind of drops off significantly towards that later lottery, mid to late first round, right? This is a draft where you actually have hidden gems left and right all the way through the top 40. So I wouldn't take that into account. Like the 19th pick this year could very well have been a top 10 pick in any other draft class.
And it's not all bad. Kevin Huerter, I don't think highly of him, but he got a second contract. So someone at some point thought he was good. Mm-hmm. Pods is a decent player. Saddiq Bey, it's not all bad. Kai Jones is a talent. Jacoby Walker is a talent. So it's not all bad, right? Like there's some talent here. And you're saying that this draft class is even deeper. First, you're the draft guy. You do this for a living, nonstop. At 19, realistically, within reason, don't say Ace Bailey drops to 19, right? But realistically,
who is your shit?
Do we got breaking news?
We don't have breaking news, but we have an updated report from Jake Fisher. There is growing skepticism from rival teams that the Spurs can be convinced to part ways with the second overall pick.
Okay,
do not give me fucking hope. I swear to God, I'm so tired of this. Do not give me hope. If there is a world where you can get Dylan Harper, do it. And I've been saying that.
So let's say they want to keep pick 2. Who do they get rid of? Fox, or do they get rid of Castle?
I don't think that. I think they just do it as a regain of future draft capital. Like I said, if you do Cam Johnson, the 8th pick, and 2 or 3 future firsts for 2, I think that's a great deal for both sides. Brooklyn gets their guy that they've been wanting, who is going to be a solidified star in this league, bearing any injuries. And San Antonio is able to move back for a guy like Knepel or Trey Johnson or a Senge, one of these high upside guys that can play the wing position. And they also get Cam Johnson, who's a guy that can win now. It also gives them the future draft capital to where even if they were to go out and get Giannis, they would still have a ton of draft capital following that trade. I think San Antonio is beyond stupid if they keep that pick, because Harper does not make any form of sense with that rotation. I was saying it yesterday. Castle at the 3 absolutely butchers his development. You have Harper, Castle, and Fox in the same lineup, which absolutely kills any form of shot creation, playmaking for all 3 of them. You have 3 ball-dominant guards on the floor at the same time. It's just not going to work. They would be very stupid to take that pick and keep it. I truly do believe that San Antonio should move back. Not even just because I want Harper, but simply just because it doesn't make sense.
Unless they were looking at Ace Bailey, but like it's even if you're looking at Ace Bailey, move from 2 to 3, you'll get some additional capital to move from 2 to 3. Yeah. Dylan Harper, Castle, Fox, it doesn't make sense on a win now team. Like you play Castle at the 3. I mean, what are we doing here, right? I agree that it doesn't make a ton of sense. It's a good trade. That's the best the Nets can offer, and it's a good trade. My only question would be, is there someone else that can offer a better player? Someone else within reason, another team that can offer a better player, a more valuable player than Cam Johnson to move up to 2?
I mean, Jaylen Brown, I don't think is available.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Right?
Yeah.
New Orleans or Memphis already said they're not moving on from Jaren Jackson or Ja Morant. I would think Jaren Jackson would be a potential option, but
Yeah.
if they're not available, I don't see that happening. Who else is really out there? I don't think you're giving up that package for 37-year-old Kevin Durant, right? I just think that it's very set in stone that if San Antonio is to move out of the second spot, it's Brooklyn. Brooklyn has the future draft capital to provide them with a perfect deal for Giannis next season.
That was my next question. Could 2 be packaged for Giannis?
2 can 100% be packaged for Giannis, but Milwaukee's not trading him this year, right? So that's where it kind of comes into like who other than Brooklyn is out there that has the ammo to go and move up to 2. Cam Johnson, the 8th pick, and 2 or 3 future firsts to move up 6 spots for the 2nd overall pick and one of either Harrison Barnes or Keldon Johnson. It makes so much sense because they would still have Vassell, they would still have Sochan, they would still have Castle, they would still have one of either Barnes or Keldon. They would still have that core package available for Giannis, except they're adding more draft capital to their arsenal to where once they do make a move on a guy like Giannis, they still have a ton left over to fill out the rest of the roster. If you can have a core of De'Aaron Fox, Stephon Castle, Cam Johnson, Giannis, and Wemby as your starting 5, that's scary for the league. That is a very, very well-rounded championship caliber roster. So to me, it makes way more sense for San Antonio to move back, and especially with a team like Brooklyn who's in dire need of the guy. I think Harper is the only one available that Brooklyn can go out and get.
Alan asked a question here. There was talk today of Dyson Daniels to San Antonio. I wouldn't deal him. Dyson Daniels, 1 for 1. And then they don't have the draft capital that the Nets have, so I don't think they can get to 2.
Mm-hmm.
But player for player, who's got more value to the Spurs, Dyson Daniels or Cam Johnson? Cam Johnson, right? Because a positional fit. Well, I'll let you answer.
Well, I just don't think Dyson Daniels is even available. Oh, yeah. You're talking about Cam Johnson going to Atlanta or
no, I'm talking about if Atlanta came to San Antonio and said, "I'll give you Dyson Daniels and draft capital," who has more, just as a player, who has more value for the Spurs? Like if they were entertaining 2 trades, one from the Nets,
more value to the Spurs. I mean, again, I think it's Johnson because Dyson is a primary guard.
He's a ball handler.
You already have Castle and you already have Fox. It makes way more sense for Cam Johnson to be there as a floor spacer and a guy that can still defend at a decent caliber, right? It just makes all the sense in the world. Sochan is a very good defender for his height and for his position. To be able to roll out a lineup next year of Fox, Castle, Johnson, Sochan, and Wemby is a very, very solid start without having to give up anything, right? If you're moving back from 2, you're gaining everything out of it. So when the time comes to replace a guy like Sochan, they can move in on a guy like Giannis in a package of Vassell, Sochan. Maybe if they have like 5 or 6 additional first-round picks attached to that deal, like you can get him. So I think it makes all the sense in the world for San Antonio to move back. I've been saying that for months. Ever since they got the 2nd pick, I've said it does not make any form of sense for them to take Dylan Harper. I think it just completely ruins the developments of both him and Castle. And it also takes away of how impactful Fox can be as your star guard, right? Castle's is a 2-way guard. He can play off ball. Harper, though, needs the ball in his hands. And if you're willing to put Harper at the 2 and shift Castle to the 3, I think that takes away from the upside as a defender that Castle has because he's only 6'5". I wouldn't stick him on wings. I want to keep him as like a Dyson Daniels where he can guard the 1 through 3, but I wouldn't stick him at the 3 specifically.
No, putting him at the 3, it just doesn't make a whole lot of sense. You're playing away from I wouldn't. Putting him at 3 is wild to me. I mean, it could be done. It just seems like that's not a great fit on a win now team.
For sure.
All right. I lost my train of thought here. All right, let's get back to it. Here's the question I have for you. Here's the question. If Sean Marks can deal Cam Johnson for the number 2 pick, in essence, Dylan Harper, do you forgive him? Is all's well that ends well?
Forgiven if you can.
Exactly, right? Yeah.
If you can skip that bum for the 2nd overall pick in Dylan Harper and figure out a way to keep your 2026 first, yes. Hands and knees, I'm on the floor. Thank you, Sean Marks. I'm sorry, Sean Marks. I apologize, Sean Marks. I forgive you, Sean Marks. That's what I'll do. I'll do it live with the camera on.
Let's turn the camera off. I don't need to see that. I don't need to see that. If you're having, if Sean Marks is having problems, D'Angelo Russell's got the antidote for him. He can help you out.
Get rid of him too. Let him walk too. I want to see Dylan Harper taking 20 shots a game with 10 assists a night. Give me that. I don't care. Win 10 games.
To be fair, though, he could have just tanked the season to start with. We could have got the worst record in the NBA because we have the worst roster in the NBA, and we could have got the number 2 pick organically and kept all of our other draft capital. But, whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like, if he just would have did his job properly, we could have got the number 2 pick organically. Like, we could have gotten there just by tanking and being the worst team in the NBA. But if we end up with Dylan Harper, I'm with you. All's well that ends well. I want Dylan Harper on this team. All right, let's get into the 19th pick in the draft. I went over it. It's not great, but there are some hits. There are some hidden gems there at 19. In a realistic world, when the draft board goes somewhat like we think it may, who is your ideal target at 19? Like, who's the guy that could realistically fall to 19 that you're saying, look, there's going to be a good player taken at 19 or later.
Mm-hmm.
There's going to be a good player, a very good NBA player. We just have to make sure we get him. What player?
Chris, Todd Pettiford went back to school, and even if he was available at 19, I'm not taking him. He's a 6-foot guard. I don't like the height. But yeah, I think the guy at 19 for me is Sorber. If he's there at 19, again, run to the podium, hand Adam Silver the card, and run back to your seat and start cheering. I think that is an incredible pick if he is available at 19.
Say that again. I'm sorry.
Thomas Sorber.
Sorber. We're talking about Sorber.
If there's a world where you can add Dylan Harper and Thomas Sorber to your roster next season, my fucking goodness, you have just built the New Jersey Nets core memories of Jersey guys coming into this team as homegrown stars that you can really build into key pieces. Yeah, I absolutely love it. I think Sorber is by far the guy that I would take at 19 if he's available. And the only team that I see being a threat to him within that range is Washington at 18. But unless if they select Maluak at 6, now you're looking at a potential to where he slips to 19 for sure. I don't think Minnesota would take him. I don't think Memphis would take him at 16. I don't think OKC would take him at 15, especially if a guy like Cedric Coward or Nate Clifford is on the board. I don't see him going lottery. So for me, if Washington selects a big and Sorber is available at 19, run to the podium.
Kind of break down Sorber's game. He's got a good mid-range game. He's got good height and length. Kind of break down why you like Sorber so much for those who aren't college basketball people.
Yeah, a lot of people don't really seem to understand the upside that Sorber has. He is coming off of a foot surgery that did prevent him from finishing out the rest of the season at Georgetown. But this is a guy that I truly believe has more upside as an NBA player than Derek Queen. And I know a lot of people on the
that was my next question, but go ahead, cook on that. I want to compare.
A lot of Nets fans do like Derek Queen because of his offensive upside, but there are true defensive liability issues within Queen's game. Sorber, though not as impactful offensively in terms of the way that he can create his own shot like Queen can, he's still as efficient and dominant down low in the paint. He's still a very solid playmaker, probably above average playmaker out of the post, similar to Queen. He is a better rebounder. He is a better defender by miles ahead. The defensive upside is what's truly special about him. And with Sorber, I do kind of see comparisons to a Bam Adebayo-like player in terms of like what his all-star ceiling could be. So to me, I think Sorber is an incredible pick if he's available at 19. At 6'10", 255, he's coming into the league with an already NBA-ready body. I just the way that he can develop on both ends of the floor is something that I don't think Brooklyn's seen in terms of a center in a very long time.
I was going to ask you, like, I look at Derek Queen and I see the same defensive liabilities as you. And if you look at the NBA Finals right now, what don't you see on the court? Players who can't defend any position. There's no one on the court. Like, if you look at the guys who Indiana starts and you look at and close with, and you look at the guys that OKC starts and close with, none of them get cooked on defense. There are no defensive liabilities. There's no Jalen Brunsons. There's no Lucas this year, right? There's no one getting cooked that you can kind of matchup hunt and have a field day with.
Yeah.
And they're in the NBA. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's a reason for that. So I look at Derek Queen, yeah, he's got tremendous offensive upside, but he's defensive liability, which means you're not going to win with them. Because look at the teams that win. They don't have players like that.
Yeah.
Sorber to you is a much more impactful defensive player with much better defensive versatility because Queen can't really guard any position, right? Like he can't guard fives and he can't guard fours.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, I'm not trying to dump on the guy, but like, is Queen a 5 or a 4? And if he's a 5, who's he guarding? And if he's a 4, who's he guarding?
Yeah, no, I agree. There's, like I said, the defensive liability issues within his game is something of concern, which is why, again, when you have this many picks and when you have such little talent on a roster, when you're trying to format a rebuild and really build out the culture of how you want to be identified as, I think Jordy has made it known that he wants guys that can play both ends of the floor. And that's kind of where my mock drafts and my draft analysis has really been coming from is who are the guys in this draft that have those two-way abilities that can really fit into what Jordy is trying to build here? Guys like Harper, guys like Sorber, guys like Maluak, even guys like Rasheer Fleming, Nolan Traore, Will Riley. These are all names that I've been mentioning for a really long time now that are guys that I feel fit this team perfectly with what Jordy's trying to do. So I would definitely stay that route to players that can play both ends of the floor, whether that be guys with ceilings as 3 and D role players or guys with ceilings as two-way stars. The only guy that I'm even interested in that may not be a very good defender in the NBA is Jeremiah Fears. And that's because his offensive game and the way that he's able to take over games down the stretch is something that's very, very valuable in the NBA. So I think that the baseline of this draft needs to still be selecting, 2 or 3 guys that could be seen as high upside, two-way, if not 3 and D high caliber role players. Even guys like Asenge and Carter Bryant, for example.
In reality, what is the likelihood that you think Sorber is available to us at 19? Is he give it a percentage chance that he's actually available at 19?
I'm going to say I think there's about like a 55% chance.
Okay.
And the only reason I say it that low is just because I think that if Maluak or Queen is not taken by Washington at 6, then there's a very big chance Washington at 18, which is the pick right before Brooklyn, will take Sorber. I've been having Sorber linked to Washington, Atlanta at 22, and then Brooklyn at 19. I think those are the 3 teams that make the most sense within those ranges for him. Now, that's not to say that a team can't trade up for him with a team, say, like Minnesota or OKC. But again, if a guy like Cedric Coward or Nick Clifford is on the board at 15 for OKC, a guy that's ready to be plugged in immediately into that contending rotation, then I don't see OKC trading back out of 15. I don't see San Antonio taking him with the final lottery pick, meaning Sorber at 14. Memphis, I don't think they need a big. I think they go wing. I think they're hoping for one of Asenge or Carter Bryant to fall. At 17 with Minnesota, again, a team that I don't see necessarily needing a wing. They kind of need a guard, especially whether that be a lead playmaker or a Nickeil Alexander-Walker replacement. And then again, Washington and Brooklyn are those 2 teams that kind of need a big if they decide to go with a guard or a wing with their first picks. So I really do think it just depends on whether or not Washington takes a big at 6 or not.
All right, I want to get into Sorber. I think would be the ideal fit too. I mean, I kind of think that's who every Net fan wants. If he's not there, in the 40 to 45% chance that he's not
You'd be
there.
surprised, dude. I was on Twitter not too long ago, and people were saying that Sorber's not good. And I'm like, are you blind or are you blind? There's no world where you've watched Thomas Sorber tape and you don't think that this guy has the ability to be a very good starting caliber 2-way big.
Yeah, if he was in last year's draft, where does he go? He's top 10 for sure, right?
I would say top 7.
If he took away the foot injury, if there's no foot injury, yeah, like okay. I mean, I would disagree. I was just, what was the reason that they gave that they didn't like Sorber? It's that he doesn't shoot threes, or like what's the reason?
Yeah, floor spacing concerns.
Okay.
But if you look at the percentages, and this is where it's very funny, if you look at the percentages between Sorber and Queen from 3, I believe it's a 4 to 6% difference in terms of 3-point efficiency.
Queen probably shot a lot more though, right?
I mean, I could tell you right now.
Yeah.
Let's see. Derek Queen stats. At Maryland, he averaged 16.5 points, 9 rebounds, 2 assists. He shot 52.6% from the field and 20% from three. It looks like on average, let's see. I'm just looking at his last 5 games: 25% from three, 66.7% from three, 0, 50, and 0. So he's probably taking anywhere between 1 to 3 a night. And then if you look at Sorber and his stats, so remember 16.5, 9, and 2. Sorber averaged 14.5, 8.5, and 2.5. He also shot just 1% higher in terms of efficiency at 53.2, and he shot 16.2% from three. Doesn't take it often, but he has shown signs of being able to hit it. So, and he also averaged 2 blocks a game, which is something that Queen did not do.
I want to address this comment from Ken Young because I love Asa Noel as well. He's not a 5. There's no way at this.
I'm hearing maybe he could drop past 20.
What was that?
I'm hearing that he could drop past 20.
Okay, so I know this is not going to change. It's not going to change. I would take Sorber too, and I love Noel. But if Noel was available at 19, would you take him over Sorber?
No.
I love Noel. Yeah, he's not a 5. Like I like him too, and he's got an ability to stretch, but he's more like a Noah Clowney. He's not. Yeah. I would not say he's a 5. I wouldn't mind having him.
This also just came in as well. This is from a real GM, which is Mark Stein. Spurs stocking assets for future star trade over Kevin Durant pursuit. I'm telling you, man, if they're stocking assets, there's only one way to stock those assets, and that's by moving the second pick.
They're going to move the second. All signs are pointing to that they're moving the second pick for sure. At least that's that's the way the wind's blowing right now. I want to get into a couple of other names. Let's say I didn't put Noel on my list, but I had a couple of guys who I wanted. Drake Powell is one of them. If Sorber's not there at 19, there's a couple of names I want to get into: Fleming, Powell, Berenger, and Coward. Coward is jumping up draft charts. I wanted your take on him. He didn't play much in college. But let's start. They asked about Drake Powell. Let's start with Drake Powell. At 19.
Hell no.
No, not a good.
I love
other
Powell.
Than he plays for Carolina, what's wrong with Drake Powell?
I love Powell. And you know what it is, too? And as a Duke guy, I don't have the hatred for UNC that some people would think. I actually really like UNC just because of certain players that have played there over the past couple of years. But Drake Powell is not a top 20 pick. He's just not. He'll likely be available at 27. I would be okay with taking him at 27. I think there's a chance that he's potentially available at 36 with the Nets' second-round pick. But if he's there at 27 and you think that he's the guy, I have no issue taking him at 27. But at 19, that's way too high on him. I definitely would not. I don't think there's any team in this draft that would. The only team that I could see him being taken before Brooklyn at 26 and 27 is maybe 25 to Orlando, and that's it.
The next question I have is Rasheer Fleming. New Jersey guy. I think this is a good fit. I don't know that he can play the 5 and
definitely not. No, he's a primary
he's a
4. This is not.
But his wingspan suggests like I don't want to cut you off.
No, you're good. He could play the small ball 5, but again, we've been doing this long enough. You've heard me talk about it long enough. Small ball doesn't work. It just does not work come playoff time. So I don't want to even see rotations out there that consist of small ball lineups. He is an incredible stretch 4. He does remind me a lot of Naz Reid. I think his defensive upside is much higher than Naz Reid. I think his floor spacing and offensive game is very polished coming into the league. I would not have a problem with him at 19, but again, a lot of mock drafts that I'm seeing have him falling to us at 26 or 27. And if there's a world where you can walk away with Harper, Sorber, and Fleming, A++. There's no better draft that you could think of than those 3.
I just think, the NBA comparison that I'm seeing for him is Obi Toppin.
Oh, that's so disrespectful, my God.
I think so too, right? Like he's got a much higher upside. He is a junior though. Is he kind of closer to his ceiling than we expect, right? Because he's not a freshman. He's a junior. He's kind of a late bloomer. Like my concern would be, is this kind of what we're getting day one is close to the finished product?
Sorry, can you repeat that?
He's 20, right? He's 20. He'd be 21. He's a junior. He's not a freshman. He's kind of a late bloomer. My question is if you drafted him, is he more of a finished product? Like what you see is what you get than drafting.
Yeah, I mean, I've always said it. I think anybody that's a junior or a senior or a fifth-year senior in college coming into the draft, they're more polished and ready to go now. I don't know what the upside of the player could be, but even if so, Fleming is a guy who's he's NBA ready. He's polished. He's ready to go. And if he plays anywhere close to what he's done in college, I mean, he's averaging what, 15, 16 a game, 8, 9 rebounds a game, 2+ blocks, shooting 50, 40, 90 splits almost. Yeah, if you're giving me that as a 3-and-D role player in this league at pick 19 through 26, fuck yeah, I'm happy with that. I think that's a great option. I think the Naz Reid comp is perfect for him.
All right. Naz Reid, can he shoot like Naz Reid? I mean, his shooting obviously improved drastically from sophomore to junior year. Naz Reid's an excellent shooter for a big. Would you count him out like he could be that type of shooter in the NBA?
As a Naz Reid?
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
Then to me, all right, so then because is it just positional need, positional fit, or why are we taking Sorber over Fleming?
Just because of the upside, and I also think it's more of a positional need, right? You have Noah Clowney, who is young, who plays the 4. It's not necessarily the biggest need at that point in time. And if you are trying to take best available player on the board in terms of upside, Sorber as a 19-year-old compared to Fleming as a 21-year-old by the time he starts in the NBA is a bit different, right? That 1.5, 2-year window is huge in terms of development. And I think for a guy who, like I said, at 19 years old, at 6'10", 255 pounds, already NBA ready in terms of his body and physicality at the center position, I don't see why you wouldn't take him over a guy like Fleming.
Ooh. Chris says Fleming reminds him of Siakam. Your thoughts on that?
It's not a bad comp. It's really not. Like, if you're talking about his maximum ceiling, yeah, you could definitely say Siakam. It does make sense. He's lengthy. He's versatile. He's athletic. He can space the floor. He can defend at a high caliber. It's definitely not the worst comparison I've heard in the world. Yes. Do I see him becoming a Siakam? Probably not, but that's also just more so my personal beliefs of upperclassmen not turning into stars. But yeah, I definitely can see the comparisons with him and his game. But overall, I think Naz Reid is just a perfect comp. Like, in terms of what he should be in the NBA, you got like your floor, your baseline, and then you got your ceiling. The baseline for Fleming to me is Naz Reid, which is a high caliber starting big or a 6-man, which I think is perfect.
Alex is saying he thinks Nsenge. Is that's what we're saying?
Yeah.
Okay. Yes. Nsenge is more Siakam.
Yeah, no, definitely. I can see that comparison as well. 6'10", super versatile and lengthy. Similar build to Siakam when he came into the NBA, both very undersized in terms of the physique department, but there's definitely some room for him to grow. And if he puts on some muscle and contains his skill set that he has, then 100% I could see that being a Siakam comp.
All right, I'll address this too, and then we'll get to the next guy on my list. Traore or Jace or Jace Richardson from Michigan State. Do you like either of them?
I'm not a fan of Jace Richardson's game just simply because he's a bit undersized. He's also not a primary point guard. He's more of a undersized 2 guard, and we kind of already have that.
Yeah.
Richardson, again, I think that he's going to be a very solid player in this league, but he reminds me of CJ McCollum. And CJ McCollum's not a guy that's going to fit alongside a guy like Cam Thomas, right? Nolan Traore I absolutely love. If you miss out on Harper and Fears, I by far think he's the 3rd best point guard available for you, even over a guy like Kasparas Jakučionis. So I absolutely love Traore at 19 if he's available, and you pass on a point guard at at the 8th pick. Like, if you pass on a point guard at 8, I love Traore at 19.
I wanted to address 2 things, right? And we're talking about Cam Thomas and Noah Clowney and getting positional fit around those guys. I'm sorry, but Cam Thomas and Noah Clowney don't get a say on who I draft. If I draft them and they don't fit, your ass is gone. I'll trade you. Like, I can get value for Cam Thomas or Noah Clowney. You know what I'm saying? Like, Cam Thomas and Noah Clowney, in my opinion, don't have to be long-term stays here. Like, if I could trade them, like, to me, because of the rim protection, because of the rebounding, Fleming's a much better prospect than Noah Clowney. So if they don't fit together, I'll just trade Clowney. You know what I'm saying? Like Clowney to me doesn't get a say in whether or not I draft Fleming.
Yeah, I mean, it just depends on how you want to utilize the rotation. Again, I've said it all along. I think point guard and center are the biggest needs. I think that there are tons of centers and point guards in this draft with high upside that you would prefer over a wing player. But you also are going to select best available player at 8, right? Let's just say that they do stick at 8, whether it's a guard, a wing, or a center, you're taking the best available player that you feel is on the board. That kind of allows you to set up the remainder of the picks to get those positions of need, whether it's a point guard, wing, or a center again. So to me, I've said it all along. Let's just say in this scenario, they do get the second pick, right? It's by far Harper. You've already got your guard. You're at 19. Let's say the best available player on the board is Fleming, Will Riley, or Sorber. I'm probably going Sorber, right? And at 26, 27, again, let's just say the best available players are Noah Penda, Drake Powell, Rasheer Fleming. Give me Fleming and Powell. Like I'm okay with that, and that gives you your point guard, it gives you your center, and it gives you your 2 wings. So the scenarios of which position to select first is very interchangeable. Like again, if you select a Senge at 8, go take Traore at 9 or at 19, and then at 26, 27, you can look into guys like Drake Powell, Noah Penda, Fleming, Maxime Reynaud. If Danny Wolf is still available, like those are the guys that you could look into in those ranges as well.
I don't want these big white guys. These guys aren't good. They never work out. They just don't. Like I don't want Danny Wolf.
Guy?
Okay, Jokic, white American guys. They don't ever work out. Like give me the
Brook Lopez.
Is he white? He's white-ish. I don't know. I don't know what Brook Lopez is. Is Brook Lopez white? I guess he's white.
I mean, that's
I don't know. It's the hair that throws me off. I don't know. Is Brook Lopez white? I guess he's white-ish. I guess
he's white-skinned.
Yeah, he is. He is.
Yeah, right. He's a bit pasty. I got to meet him when I was like 7 or 8 years old. He was him and Courtney Lee were doing a training camp in Jersey. So there's me, picture with both of them, staring up at Lopez like he's fucking 20 feet tall. But
because he is 20 feet tall.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, no, he's a pasty dude. Brook Lopez is Disneylandian. Yeah, I personally don't like Yang at 26 or 27. I understand the hype around him, but I'm very, very against guys above 7 feet. And I've said this for a very long time. Guys like Taco Fall, guys like Zach Edey, these guys don't really survive in the league very long. Hanson Yang has an impressive skill set, but again, I'm not willing to take that probably until 36. Now, if you don't select a center with picks, whether it's 2 or 8 and then 19 or 26, all right, if he's the best available center on the board at 27 and you fear that he won't be there at 36, by all means take him. But I personally wouldn't go out of my way to select him over guys like Powell, Penda, Fleming, Wolf, Reynaud. Like those are guys that I would select out of him.
The next guy I want to get into, I got to take like the other big, and you can tell if he's more of a 4, more of a 5, is Baranga. What are your thoughts on Baranga? And where would you rate him amongst these other bigs?
I'm seeing people rank him in the lottery now. Like there's people that think he can go 14th overall. I'm not as high on him. Again, I don't like one-sided players in this league. Beringer is a very, very dominant rim protector in terms of his athleticism. I don't see him developing a true offensive game outside of the pick and roll and lob threat. So to me, it's a bit iffy on whether or not I would select him. If he's available again at 26 or 27 and he's the best big on the board, by all means. I don't hate it, but I don't love it. I'm very tired of Brooklyn specifically selecting guys who are just one-sided players, right? Cam Thomas is an offensive player with no playmaking or defensive upside. Nick Claxton has not been able to showcase any form of offensive upside. Day'Ron Sharpe, not the greatest defender, not the greatest offensive player, but an incredible rebounder. It's just too one-sided. Noah Clowney, floor spacer, but can't put on weight, not the best defender, can't really do anything else offensively besides stretch the floor, at least from what we've seen. So to me, this draft really needs to be focused on 3-and-D, two-way caliber players, guys that can do it on both ends of the floor at a high upside level. So for me, I'm just not a fan of Beringer's game overall. Thoughts on Ryan Kalkbrenner? I'm not a fan. Again, I really don't like upperclassmen for a team that's desperately in need of youth and upside. If he's available at 36 and Brooklyn didn't take a big, by all means take him. But I would prefer to go a more youthful route. And he's back. Welcome back.
All right. All better. Then the last guy I want to touch on is Coward. Didn't play much in college. Don't know much about him. Shooting up draft boards. Where do you rate him? And
I could see him being a top 18 pick. I think teams like, OKC at 15, Memphis at 16, Minnesota at 17, even Washington at 18 if they do decide to go with a big. I think that's the range of where you'll see him be selected. Again, just a 3-and-D versatile, offensive and defensive player. Just a guy that you can plug in immediately who's ready to go. He did tear his labrum, so he was out for 4 to 6 months, I believe, and only got to play 6 or 7 college basketball games his senior season. But within that sample size, he shot 50-40 splits, borderline. I want to say he was like an 85% free throw shooter. And he was averaging, I think it was like 17, 6 or 7 boards, 3 assists. He was really filling up the sheet in terms of the steals and blocks. So I think that his upside as an NBA 3-and-D role player is through the roof. He's by far one of the best upperclassmen in the draft.
Yeah, I wanted to put this out there. He played at Eastern Washington. He's kind of walk us through this guy. Like he came to Eastern Washington as a sophomore, couldn't crack the rotation too much, then became one of the best, mid-major players in the country. And then last year we didn't get to see a ton of them. His kind of evolution, this is kind of strange. You don't see this too often in the NBA. You see it in college. Guys go to small schools and then transfer. But is he just a late bloomer? Are there off the court concerns that kept him out of the major schools? I mean, why Washington, Eastern Washington? This is a weird move to me.
Yeah, I mean, it just depends on where you're going to get the playing time. And at this point in the NIL era, it's where whoever's going to give you the most money. So who knows why he's there. But, maybe it was for a better opportunity. Maybe it was for a little bit more money. Either way, the skill set's there. So I wouldn't take that into consideration too much.
Okay.
I mean, James Harden went to Arizona State. Arizona State's not like incredibly known for basketball.
Yeah, right? It's not.
I mean, even look at guys. There's one dude. I'm going blank on the name. He went to like a no-name school. Damian Lillard, Weber State.
Yeah, he was strange, and Steph Curry too also didn't get scholarships out of high school. Dame Lillard was a guy, and I watched his high school tape. He looks ridiculous, but he didn't get any scholarship offers. Zero. No scholarship offers out of high school, which is outrageous. So yeah, they missed on people. It was the whatever year the Warriors played the Blazers in the conference finals. Steph, Clay, CJ, and Lillard was the starting backcourt on the two teams. Klay Thompson was the only one that got a college scholarship out of high school. That's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's wild.
Yeah, I was going to say, even Ja Morant with Murray State.
Yeah, but Ja Morant was a top 3 recruit in high school.
No, he was a 0-star recruit.
Ja Morant was?
Ja Morant was a 0-star recruit coming out of high school, went to Murray State, and lit it up.
Okay. I thought he was...
Did Ja play 1 or 2 years in college? I want to say it was 2, right?
It was 1.
It was 1? Holy
yeah.
shit.
Let me confirm that. Ja Morant...
Oh, no, 65
right.
games.
He did play 2. He played 2 games. He played 2. Okay.
I mean, even look at his freshman season. 12.7 points, 6.3 assists, 6.5 rebounds. Those are numbers. I mean, he doubled his numbers his sophomore season. He had 24.5 points, 10 assists, roughly 6 rebounds. Yeah, I mean, that's what happens. It's not always about going to the blue chip schools. It's about going to the team that's going to give you the freedom to play your style of basketball. And for guys like Dame, Ja, Coward, it's all worked in their favor. So I wouldn't necessarily take going to a low end school as a deficiency to his game or something that I would worry about.
All right. Okay. All right. So that was kind of the guy. Is there anyone else that the Nets keep? We went over Sorber, Fleming, Powell, Beranger, Coward. Those are kind of the names we looked at. Is there anyone else that you think could fall that we have going higher that could fall at 19? Or is there any sleeper picks that you would say that's the guy we should take at 19?
Sleeper picks. I mean, Will Riley, I wouldn't hate.
I was going to ask you about him.
Yeah, I wouldn't hate Will Riley. I think it's a bit early, but again, if you're not sold on any of the guys on the board and you know that he's going to be gone within, 4 or 5 picks right before your 26th and 27th picks, then yeah, by all means, I don't mind selecting him there. I think he's the perfect Cam Johnson replacement. He quite literally is Cam Johnson coming out of college. So I don't hate that pick whatsoever. I think I actually had Will Riley mocked at 19 to Phoenix in my last one where we did the KD 3-team trade. But yeah, I definitely don't hate that.
Chaz Lanier, and I don't even mind Chaz Lanier, but he's not a 9. No. I mean, that is way too early for Chaz Lanier, right? Chaz Lanier's a second-round guy.
If we take Walter Clayton in this draft, I'm just going to be angry. I don't care if it's pick 8 or if it's pick 36 or if it's pick 60. I absolutely cannot stand Walter Clayton. No, Chaz Lanier, the only way that I'm taking him is at 36. And even then, I'm going to not be happy with that pick. Bogola Markovic is probably the most underrated player that I'm personally in love with in terms of their upside as a player in this league at 6'11" to be a stretch 4 with some of the abilities that he has on the offensive end. I think that he is by far going to be one of the best steals of the draft in terms of the late first round, early second round. Addo Thiaro is another guy that I wouldn't hate taking at 26 or 27. If you haven't already selected Fleming, then by all means, I don't hate that as well. But yeah, there's a few guys in that late stretch that I would not mind taking with those back-to-back picks.
All right. Alex says McNeely will be the pick. I mean, look, if he falls to 19, that does strike me as a guy that Sean Marks might take. Is it realistic? McNeely was a guy really hyped out of high school. I mean, he played well at UConn, I suppose.
38, 39% from the field.
Yeah, I don't want him either.
He shot like 31, 32% from
He did not live up to expectations.
Yeah, it was a really rough year all around for UConn as a whole, but he was a major factor into why his draft stock has decreased. I don't know. Personally, to me, I don't like McNeely's game. You've seen guys come into the league similar to him, like Joe Harris and Corey Kispert, and all of these guys are very mediocre players. I personally wouldn't take the swing on him at 19. But yeah, I'd stay away from him. He's one of the 6 guys that I would stay away from in this draft. Trey Johnson, Kasparis Yakachonis, McNeely, Beringer, and there's a couple of others that I'm just. Oh, Walter Clayton's one of them. And then there's one more. I'm going blank on the last guy, but there's 6 players that I just would not take no matter what position in the draft they're available at.
This is I'm not high on Liam McNeely. He's a Texas guy. Comp him out as an NBA player. I mean,
Corey Kispert.
Okay.
And Corey Kispert just got paid like a year and a half ago, and Washington wants to trade him. Like, it's just. These guys who come in that are expected to be great 3-point shooters, they never last, right? Joe Harris wasn't great at the start of his career. He came to Brooklyn and had a couple of good seasons. And then when he was ready to contend, he couldn't play, right? Corey Kispert came into the league as a
McNeely couldn't shoot last year.
Yeah, I know.
Shoot. It's like,
that's what I'm saying. Like there's some real reasons why I don't like them at all.
Steve Novak told a story when he was on the Knicks, and this is during Lynn Mania. And he was on a 10-day contract with Lynn, and it was the last day on his second day, 10-day contract. And he was checking in the game, and he was sitting next to Lynn checking into the game. And Novak said to him, I got to get some shots off. This could be my last day. And Jeremy Lin's like, yeah, what else are you going to do? Right? Like, that's how I feel about McNeely. But he can't shoot. Like, he shot horribly. Like, the only thing you can do is shoot, granted. Okay, that's a great skill to have. He wasn't any good at it last year. So why am I picking him at all? He's a shooter, a 3-and-D guy minus the D who also can't shoot. So he's a 3-and-D guy who can't shoot or defend. Why exactly am I taking him?
I can't answer that. Can't answer that. I wouldn't.
Do you remember Daquan Cook? He played for the Thunder and he played for the Heat, shooter. He went to Ohio State. He won the 3-ball competition one year. Do you remember him at all?
No, not really. What's the name?
Good reason. Daquan Cook.
Oh my god, I do remember that name. Yeah, he was horrible.
Another guy. Oh, he's a great shooter. Beautiful stroke. Like his jump shot looked like an instruction video. The problem is it never went in. He won a 3-point competition one year, but you look at his stats, he never had a good shooting season. They kicked around the league, but it's like he's a shooter who can't make any shots. And like that's kind of what I feel about McNeely. It's like he shot the ball horribly last year. People are saying Fears can't shoot. Fears' 3-point percentage is not that much different than Liam McNeely, who's a shooter. I don't understand. Like, I don't understand Liam McNeely at all. Like, why? To me, like that's a guy that should go back to college because he can't shoot, and he's a shooter. Am I crazy for saying that?
No, not at all. I mean, I'm just not a fan of McNeely's game whatsoever. There's really not much more I can put into it.
Is there anything else I'm missing? Is there anything else he can do besides shoot?
No.
Okay, I didn't think so. Maybe I didn't watch him a ton. Maybe I'm missing something. No, okay, he's just a shooter who had 38, 31 shooting splits. Okay, yeah, I'm gonna pass. I'm with you on that.
Oh,
I'm not trying. I don't have any ill will towards Liam McNeely. I just don't want him on my team. It's just like Trey Johnson. I like Trey Johnson. He's from the same area as Liam McNeely. I just don't want Trey Johnson on my team. I don't want Liam McNeely on my team. If we got Trey Johnson at 8 and Liam McNeely at 19, how happy would you be?
If we got McNeely at 19
and Trey Johnson at 8.
I would put my 20.7K Instagram Nets fan page up for sale. I shit you not. I'm not watching that product. And I'm not fuck that. That will go up for sale, and I will retire.
I'm not like Trey Johnson. I get the appeal to him. I get it. I don't want him, but I get why other teams would rate him high. Liam McNeely, I can't say I understand why anyone wants him.
By the way, I got to jump into this. I'm sorry to cut you off, but I literally just reposted the article of. This is the exact quote. There is growing skepticism from rival teams that the Spurs can be convinced to part with the second overall pick, per Jake Fisher, right?
Yeah.
I quote tweeted it and said, "Here we go." These are my comments. Can you read? Wouldn't that mean San Antonio isn't going to trade the pick? Doesn't the report basically mean it's not happening?
That's how I would read that, yeah.
Really? When you see the words growing skepticism from rival teams that the Spurs can be convinced to part with the second pick, that means executives believe that there is a world where the Spurs can trade that pick.
Correct.
Yeah. People are commenting saying that I'm reading it incorrectly. This is the problem with Twitter. You've got a bunch of 12-year-olds who don't understand what the word growing skepticism, convinced, and part with. How do you not understand that? Am I missing something?
No, you're not. It's a weird. It's a lot of words. Like
it's big boy words for little people on Twitter that can't understand.
But there's no reason to use like. There's no reason like. It's an odd way. I would agree with them that it's an odd way to phrase that. Like you're using a lot of words to say a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Like it's the wording of the tweet is weird. Like it's one of those things I'd have to go back and read twice.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
I'm reading the Mark Stein article. It says Dylan Harper is universally projected to be selected at second, amid growing skepticism from rival teams that San Antonio can be convinced to part with that selection. Part with that selection. What part of that are we not fucking understanding? Twitter people, I'm screenshotting this. I gotta.
The Twitter people did not read the article. They read the headline and that's it.
Talking to people on Twitter is like walking into and I gotta use the analogy. It's like walking into a special needs classroom of second graders where it's like, hey guys, this is that. Let's learn today. Like it shouldn't be like talking to somebody like that. Just be better. It's not hard to read English. If you are a fully functioning human being, learn to read. Ask AI. I mean, shit, Grok and all these AI things, you can just simply ask, what does this mean? And you'll be able to find it. Like, come on. Be fucking better.
Casper is at 8, McNeely at 19, Walter
Oh my
Clayton at
God.
20.
Jeff,
They're
that
just
is,
trying to trigger you. Don't
dude,
take the
that,
bait.
that is that is the Nets press has given up and retired draft right there, without a doubt.
So give me your thoughts. Not who you want. At 19, who are the Nets going to select? Give me your guess. I'll give you mine.
At 19,
Yeah.
Sorber.
All right. I would love that. I think it's Fleming. I think the Nets take Fleming at night, which I'm fine with. I would rather Sorber, but I think the Nets are taking I think Marks, who loves small ball, is licking his chops, wanting to play Fleming at the 5.
Okay. Not bad.
I mean, it's not what I would do. I would take Sorber, but I think Sean Marks is stuck in small ball, is he not?
I don't think so anymore. I'd like to
Okay.
think not. I mean, Dayron Sharp's 6'9", so I guess you can considerably say that's a small ball big. But yeah, no. I would hope that he's moved past that. The league is transferring into that multi-big dual threat system. So
Yeah.
hopefully he reads into that.
No, I hope you're right. I have no confidence in Sean Marks to be smart and to make smart decisions. I just don't. Right? Like, everyone credits him for getting these great picks late in the first round. Who exactly are we referring to? Jarrett Allen? Okay, fine. And who else? Like, Cam Thomas? He didn't want to take Cam Thomas. Kevin Durant made him take Cam Thomas. So, like, when we give Sean Marks all this credit for getting all of these great picks late in the first round, besides Jarrett Allen, who exactly are we referring to?
Yeah, I guess. I mean, it's kind of tough.
That's all I'm saying. It's Karis LeVert was good. Karis LeVert, he was injury plagued, and that's why that's why he fell. And he was injury plagued in the NBA, right? Like, the concerns that made him fall were concerns when he was in the NBA. And I mean, Nick Claxton sucks. Like, Noah Clowney's a late first rounder. Like, who exactly are we talking about? He didn't miss on these guys, but they weren't exactly home runs either. They were kind of.
They didn't turn into like Trey Murphys and Jalen Brunsons and Jokic's. Like, they haven't developed that first, second, third option caliber of play. Yeah, no, I agree.
That's why, like, everyone's, he's a great drafter. It's like, okay, who are we talking about? Like, what picks? Oh, they're not bad. They're not misses, but they kind of play to their draft position. Like, we got Nick Claxton in the second round. Yeah, Nick Claxton sucks. All right. Nick Claxton was the first pick in the second round, if I'm correct, right? He's 31.
He was, yeah.
Yeah.
He was either 31 or 33, I think. I forgot which exactly he was.
Nick Claxton sucks. No, I like Trey Johnson. He was an excellent Longhorn. I just don't think Trey Johnson's game. Someone asked me, like, who Trey Johnson banged in my life. I don't think he. I just don't think he.
If a Texas fan and a diehard Texas fan is telling you that they don't like a certain player on their team, it likely means it's for a reason.
It's not even. I don't think he's an NBA. He can't defend anyone. He can't really handle the ball. He's a scorer. He's going to average 15 points a game as a rookie, and he's going to make some great shots. People, ooh, look at him. It's like, yeah, that's all he is. Like, he's just a shot maker. That's it.
It's Cam Thomas,
who's 6'6". So
it's Cam Thomas with 2 inches.
Yeah, that's really what he is. I don't want him at 8 in this draft. That's all. All right. Any closing thoughts?
No, I think that's honestly it. I mean, we covered pretty much every aspect of the draft. Yeah, we're 8 days away.
Connor Long loves Trey Johnson. Like, it makes even less sense because so you want a starting backcourt of Cam Thomas and Cam Thomas.
I mean, it's the perfect backcourt to lose 60 games.
It's a great tanking piece.
Yeah.
Right. And look, if you decide Trey Johnson is better than Cam Thomas, okay, fine. They trade Cam Thomas. You get on a fairly team-friendly deal. I'm not opposed to it, but it just seems like we're not fixing anything. Like, why are we? just keep Cam Thomas. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
if you're gonna say we're gonna draft Trey Johnson and look to move Cam Thomas, fine. But why don't you just draft Cam Thomas?
Cam Thomas, like, players don't work in the NBA, especially if you're trying to build a championship roster. So for me, I don't like Trey Johnson whatsoever.
Especially
and
the guards
even,
Cam Thomas.
Yeah, even if guys like Carter Bryant or Asenge are on the board at 8 along with Trey Johnson, I'm still taking Carter Bryant or Asenge because I don't think Trey Johnson's the best available player on the board. I'm looking at guys that could be two-way players in this league, not guys that'll put up 20 points a game on inefficient shooting that won't win games. You know, scoring isn't the only aspect of this game that I consider as best player available. You got to be able to do a little bit of everything.
I agree, Connor, that you have to go BPA. Now, the question is, you have a one-dimensional player like Trey Johnson. Is he so good at that one dimension that he's Jalen Brunson or Carmelo Anthony? Probably not. He's probably not that good at scoring, where it's like, okay, he's going to get me 30 on the moon every night. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The wide array of things like guys like Noah Asenge and Carter Bryant offer you, to me, make them better at basketball than Trey Johnson. Trey Johnson's going to average a bunch of points, probably on not super efficient, but not terrible shooting, right? Am I wrong in that assessment?
No, it's pretty accurate.
Yeah, there you go. Asenge and Fierce as my top two. I'm with that.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think if I had the choice to pick at 8, it would be Fierce first, Maluak second, Asenge third, Carter Bryant fourth, Yegor Demon fifth, Derek Queen sixth, Kasparis Yakachonis seventh.
So,
and that's a guy that I genuinely wouldn't even take. And then Trey Johnson at 8. Like, that's how badly I undervalue Trey Johnson.
I'd probably put him. I would take him over Con Kneppel. I would do that.
No. I wouldn't even take him over Con.
Con's a better shooter, right? But it's like, what is Con's role in the NBA? Like, is he just a better version of
Klay Thompson that can actually handle the ball and play make?
He can handle the ball and play make. So he's not a better version of Liam McNeil. He can handle the ball.
Yes.
That kind of
he does it. He does it in a very white way. As a white person, he does it very whitely, but he does it. So I think Con is definitely a guy that I would take over Trey Johnson, Yakachonis. Yeah, I completely forgot to add his name. If I had to do that list over, it would be Fierce first, Maluak second, Asenge third, Carter Bryant fourth, Yegor Demon fifth, Kneppel sixth, Queen seventh, Yakachonis 8, Trey Johnson 9th. That would be my top 9 in terms of who I would select in order at 8.
Here's a one that we haven't touched on: Colin Murray Boyles. I see his name.
Stay away from him.
Okay, why is that?
Just a
I see his name old. I don't have any guess where he would even go, but I see his name old. Like,
he is just straight up a defensive menace. Not a horrible player for a team that's contending to grab him, but again, stay away from the one-sided players. Give me guys that can do everything. 3 and D.
Compare him to Zaire. Is that
not even close?
Not even close.
Not even close. He can't space the floor at all. He cannot. He cannot play any form of offense outside of the post and inside the paint. That's really it.
All right.
I would stay away from him.
I think that's all we got for you. Was there anything else you wanted to cover? Anyone else you wanted to break down?
No, I think that's it. Covered a lot.
Yeah, we did. This was a good show.
For sure. I was going to say, I know that you said that you have a couple of days off that you're probably going to be taking. If there is a trade with the Nets, we'll do an emergency pod, 30 minutes.
Yeah, for sure. I can go. Are you free tomorrow? I can go live tomorrow.
Tomorrow, probably not.
Okay.
I think the next closest day I could be available is probably Friday or Saturday.
Let's look at Saturday.
Sounds good.
Thursday.
Yeah, if there's anything that happens in between those days, we can definitely hop on for like 20, 30 minutes.
Yeah.
But we'll figure it out.
It was weird to me that Indy is making trades with their team in the finals, but I guess the front office, their job is done. Like they built the roster.
They're already there.
Yeah. It was weird to me that they're making trades 2 wins away from winning a championship. But
Well, that trade to me indicates that they're looking to add more pieces this offseason because now they have the rights to trade their 2026, 2028, 2030, and after this draft, they'll have the rights to trade their 2032 first-round pick as well. So they'll have 4 tradable first-round picks, which likely means they may be looking at a potential star.
also a replacement for Miles Turner. Do you think Miles Turner's back?
I feel like he can get more money elsewhere.
That's what my inkling too.
I really do think he can. But at the same time, he just made a championship on the roster that he's been on for his entire career. Is there loyalty there? Probably. But it depends. It's a money world. So we'll have to see.
All right. We'll be in contact. I'll let you know if there's any news. We'll do an emergency podcast. If not, probably Saturday would work.
Sounds good.
All right, y'all. June 17th, 2025, from Texas to the world. Thank y'all, and God bless.